Good morning. Today we will discuss regarding flatness measurement. According to IS 2063-1962, surface is deemed to be flat within a given range of measurement when the variation of the perpendicular distance of its point from the geometrical exterior plane parallel to plane to be tested remains below the given value. The geometrical plane may be represented either by means of a surface plane or by a family of straight lines obtained by a displacement of a straight edge or a spirit level or a gi- uh, or a light beam. So therefore, a surface can be considered to be composed of an infinitely large number of lines. The surface will be truly flat only if all the lines are straight and they lie in a same plane. So that is called a flat surface. Now methods of flatness measurement. So small variations of less than 1 or 2 microns are measured using reference interference fringes. Fringes are produced between the surface and an optical flat illuminated by monochromatic light. So fringes that can be obtained in between the surface that to be tested and the optical flat, and it is illuminated by monochromatic light. The fringes may be regarded as contours of equal distance from the surface of the flat. Separation between each fringe of the same color represents a height difference of a half a wavelength of a light used. Now we will see what is optical flat that is used for measurement of flatness. The simplest application of the interference is the use of optical flat. It provides precision as well as accuracy in the measurement of flatness. Optical flats are cylindrical pieces 25 to 300 mm in diameter with two plane faces flat and parallel, having thickness of about 1/6 of its diameter. They are made of transparent material such as quartz, glass, sapphire, etc. Optical flats made of quartz are more commonly used because of its hardness, low coefficient of expansion, and resistance to corrosion. One or both surfaces of optical flats may be highly polished. For measuring flatness, in addition to optical flat, a monochromatic light source is also required. The yellow orange light radiated by helium gas is most satisfactory for use with optical flats. Sometimes the optical flats are coated with the thin film of titanium oxide. So this reduces the loss of light due to reflection, which makes the band more clear. For greater accuracy, optical flat must be used in an area where the temperature is constant. So optical flats are of two types. Type A, it has single flat working surface. It is used for testing flatness of precision measuring surfaces of flat slip gauges, etc. And type B, it has both working surfaces flat and parallel to each other. It is used for testing measuring surfaces of micrometer, measuring anvils, meters, and similar measuring devices for testing flatness and parallelism. So you can see the on a left hand side you can see the optical flats and different fringe patterns that are obtained, and on a right hand side bottom corner you can see the measuring process. So at the bottom you can see there is a surface whose flatness is to be tested, that is placed, and on the top of that surface the optical flat. So optical flat, it is a cylindrical pieces. These are the cylindrical pieces of 25 to 30 mm in diameter with two plane faces, flat and parallel, and thickness of about 1/6 of its diameter. So that optical flat, it is placed on a surface whose flatness is to be tested, and you can see at the top the fringe pattern that is obtained, so that you can find out whether that surface it is flat, convex, concave, like that. So according to fringe pattern you can judge. When an optical flat is placed on another surface and illuminated by a light, the light waves reflect off both the bottom surface of the flat and the surface it is resting on. This causes a phenomenon similar to thin film interference. The reflected waves interfere, creating a pattern of interference fringes visible as light and dark bands. The spacing between the fringes is smaller, where the gap is changing more rapidly, indicating a departure from flatness in one of the two surfaces, in a similar way to the contour lines on a map. A flat surface is indicated by a pattern of straight parallel fringes with equal spacing, while other patterns indicate uneven surfaces. Now, flatness testing. The flatness of the working surface of an optical flat is tested by comparing its flatness with a master flat of known flatness. The testing is usually carried out by observing the interference fringes using monochromatic light source. If the optical flat under test has a perfectly flat surface, then the fringes observed will be straight line. So you can see the optical flats, and that is placed on a surface, and you can see the different patterns that you can see. Now you can see the diagram at the top diagram. So this is a front view and the top view. The top diagram, you can see there is a flat surface, and that surface whose flatness is to be tested, that is placed at the bottom, and over that surface the optical flat that is placed at an angle, and at the bottom you can see the interference bands that you can observe. So there is a workpiece, over that there is an optical flat, and you can see the interference bands. Now, consider an optical flat placed upon a flat metal surface so that a thin wedge film of air is entrapped between them. It will be a it will be at slight inclination theta to the surface. So optical flat, it is placed on a surface at an angle theta. It is a slight inclination theta. If optical flat is now illuminated by monochromatic source of light, interference bands will be observed. These are produced by interference of light rays reflected from the bottom face of the optical flat and the top face of the workpiece being tested through the layers of air. Now you can see the diagram, top diagram. Ray L1 follows the path AB. At B, part of the ray is reflected. At B, part of the ray is reflected to follow the path BC, while remainder continues along the path BD. So you can see the diagram. And it is reflected from metal surface D along the path DEF. So both parts of the ray are recombined at the eye. So you can see the two rays after reflection BC and DEF, and it is recombined at the eye. You can see the eye at the top, having traverse unequal distances. So this will be traverse unequal distances. Though both the components have the same wavelength and start, the difference in their paths causes them to be either in phase or out of phase at C and F. So you can see the points C and F. So at C and F, that rays will be in phase or out of phase. If the waves reaching the eye are 180-degree out of phase, a dark band or fringe will be observed. At some point Z, so consider point Z, the ray path difference has increased by 1/2 wavelength. The waves will in phase and bright band will be seen. A further increase of 1/2 wavelength will produce a second dark band at Q. So you can see the point Q. So depending upon the air gap between surfaces, we will get alternate dark and bright bands due to interference of light. Now we will see what is interferometer. So we will see optical interferometer. Interferometers are optical instruments used for measuring flatness and determining the length of slip gauges by direct reference to the wavelength of light. The interferometer incorporates the extension of the application of the optical flat. When optical flat is placed on a surface, there is no control over the position of the air wedge, and it is often very difficult to adjust the flat so as to get the fringes. Optical interferometer overcomes this disadvantage of the flats by some refined arrangements. And in interferometers, the lay of the optical flat can be controlled and the fringes can be oriented. Also, there is an arrangement to view the fringes directly from top and above the fringes, thus avoiding any distortion due to incorrect viewing. Now, types of interferometers. So, first is Michelson interferometer, Fabry-Perot interferometer, fringe counting interferometer, NPL flatness interferometer, Peter NPL interferometer, Zeiss gauge block interferometer, multiple beam interferometer, and laser interferometer. These are the types of interferometers used for flatness testing. Now, first we will see NPL flatness interferometer. So you can see the diagram. At the top there is a light source, then there is a condensing lens, then there is a green filter, then at the bottom of the green filter there is a pinhole, then glass plate reflector that is placed at an angle, then the eyepiece, then the collimating lens. Below the collimating lens there is a optical flat, and at the bottom there is a base plate, and on the base plate there is a workpiece. It is placed, the workpiece to be tested, it is placed. Now this instrument is mainly used for checking the flatness of flat surfaces. The interferometer was designed by National Physics Laboratory, that is NPL. In this instrument, mercury vapor lamp is used as a light source. Radiations from the lamp are passed through the green filter and thus leaving a green monochromatic light. So you can see in a diagram, at the top there is a light source, So mercury vapor lamp, it is used as a light source, and the radiations from the lamp are passed through the green filter. You can see the green filter at the bottom of the condensing lens, and thus leaving the green monochromatic light. The wavelength of resulting monochromatic radiation is of the order of 0.5 micrometer, means it is 0.0005 mm. This radiation is then brought to focus on a pinhole. So below the green filter there is a pinhole in order to obtain the intense point of source of light. A mirror is used in order to deflect the light beam through 90 degree. The pinhole is placed in the focal plane of collimating lens. Thus, the radiations out of lens will be parallel beam of light. This beam is directed on a gauge to be tested through optical flat. So, collimating lens, below the collimating lens, that is, there is a optical flat. The fringes form are viewed directly by means of a glass plate reflected set at 45 degrees to the optical axis. So the glass plate reflector that is placed, by using the glass plate reflector, you can see the fringe pattern. So you can see at the right hand side. So diagram A, that is, these are A and B. These are the fringe patterns that you can see from the interferometer. In A, you can see the pattern. So these are the equal fringes on parallel, and on a second, you can see the unequal fringes due to flatness error. So diagram A indicates this is a completely flat surface, and B indicates the surface it is not a flat. So you can see in figure A, the fringes are parallel and equal in number on the two surfaces. Previously, the two surfaces are, or obviously, the two surfaces are parallel, which means that the gauge surface is perfectly flat. On the other hand, in diagram B, the number of fringes is unequal, and since the base plate surface is ensured to be perfectly flat, the workpiece surface has flatness error. So you can see the two fringe patterns that is obtained. Field of view of fringe pattern. It can be seen that the two sets of fringes are displaced by an amount with respect to each other. The value of a varies depend on the color of the incident light. The displacement A is expressed as a fraction of the fringe spacing B, that is F equal to A upon B. So you can see the different fringe patterns. Now the first pattern, that is the gauge face flat and parallel to the base plate, because pitch of lines for the base plate and the gauge is same. Then second, gauge face flat but not parallel to the base plate, because pitch of lines for base plate and gauge is different. Then surface of gauge is inclined to the base plate. So surface of gauge is flat, but its surface is inclined to the base plate at some other angle. Then gauge surface is convex or concave. The fringes on a gauge are curved lines. You can see. So outside circle, that will indicate the surface that to be tested, and this rectangle inside the circle, that will indicate the optical flat surface. So the fringe pattern, that is observed from the optical flat. Then last is flat and parallel but slight rounding off at corners. So this is a different fringe patterns that you can observe. Then laser interferometer. The laser interferometer consists of fixed unit called the laser head, consists of laser, a pair of semi-reflectors and two photodiodes. So you can see in a diagram there is a laser, then the photodiodes that will consist one fixed unit, and also there is a semi-reflectors. So that unit, it is a fixed unit, and at the right hand side there is a moving unit. Below that there is a amplifier, digital counter and the output. So the laser interferometers can be used for measurements of small diameters as well as large displacements. So the laser interferometer consists of fixed unit called the laser head, consists of laser, a pair of semi-reflectors and two photodiodes. So you can see in a diagram. The sliding unit has a corner tube mounted on it. You can see the corner tube in a moving unit or sliding unit. The corner tube is a glass disc whose back surface has three polished faces that are mutually at right angles to each other. The corner tube will thus reflect light at an angle of 180 degree regardless of the angle at which light is incident on it. The photodiodes will electronically measure the fringe intensity and provide an accurate means of measuring displacement. Now working. Laser light first falls on a semi-reflector P. So you can see the point P. So laser light must falls on a semi-reflector P, is partially reflected by 90 degree and falls on a other reflector S. A portion of the light passes through P and strikes the corner tube. You can see the point P. That is partially reflected. That light, it is partially reflected by 90 degree and it falls on a S, and other partially reflected light passes through P and strikes at the corner tube. So you can see the point Q. Light is turned through 180 degree by the corner tube and recombines at the semi-reflector S. So you can see that partially reflected light from P to Q, it is again turned through 180 degree through R and it is recombines at the semi-reflector S. You can see there. If the difference between these two paths of light, that is PQRS dash PS, so see carefully, PQRS and PS is an odd multiple of 1/2 wavelength, that is out of phase, then interference will occur at S and it will result a dark spot because the diode output will be minimum. On the other hand, if the path difference is an even multiple of half wavelength, then photodiodes will register maximum output because it will be in phase, resulting bright spot. So we have to see the difference between the two paths. One path is PQRS and other path is PS. And that if that difference, if it is a odd multiple of half wavelength, then the dark spot will be observed. And if that difference, if it is a even multiple of half wavelength, then bright spot that will be observed. So this is a working, it is given in this slide. So you can see the working. So that the different fringe patterns that will be observed, and on the basis of the fringe pattern you can decide whether the surface is flat or not. Thank you. So this is regarding the optical flat or the testing of flatness. Thank you.